Hello and welcome to another fine Courtesy Flush. Tonight we're going to be playing another edition of Arcanum, which is a video game in a series of video games that only had one. Joining me is Mr. Tex, who's over there clicking away and currently not stealing everything in sight.
You can't prove shit.
I can't because there's no visual. I am also sitting here on the couch once again with a lovely meal, but not an MRE. We have some on the way, I'm told, and I'm afraid.
I ordered you a Czech MRE.
Yes, he did.
And a Latvian MRE because I wanted you to experience the joy of the Eastern Bloc.
Yeah, that's what that was what I was missing out of my life. Clearly, I needed more of the Eastern Bloc, and so I'm going to get it, and I'll eat every bite the best of my abilities. Get this head off and put my headphones on.
Eastern Bloc. So I've been robbing this town blind.
Yes, you have.
I'm getting ready for the Black Mountain Mines.
A little bit. I also am going to be eating a meal, as I said, not a meal ready to eat, but a meal of spaghetti and meatballs. I'm not lost on the irony here.
It's Meatball Monday.
It's apparently Meatball Monday, like last Monday, where the meatballs weren't real. These are apparently real, meat.
Listen,
so
I felt bad for him having to eat that MRE, so now he is going to enjoy a homemade meal by Mr. Tex.
It's garbage day. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, we'll definitely have more MRE stuff. I'll have a better table out because that little theater box was not enough room for the mess that I made. So I'm getting a better. Well, I have a better table that we're gonna set up for more mess that will place here on the floor where all the wires are, and totally won't damage them whatsoever. So let me go ahead and I'm just gonna set that over there, and let's bring you over to the stream and music off.
Yeah, I'm just here inspecting this guy's supplies.
Yeah.
I'm a building inspector.
Oh, of course.
And,
sir, please continue.
Yes, of course. I just needed to help myself to some of his refuse. And thank you for holding the door, Virgil.
Well, Virgil's a good man like that.
Dum-ba-dum-bum, walking real slow. Yes, let's trade.
You have the honor of returning to my store. Thank you very much. Indeed. This is definitely some sketto to help me forgetto all the regretto.
Regretto comes later. Now eat your spaghetti.
I'm going to. And explain to us what the hell you're doing.
I'm making lots and lots of bombs, or as many as I can fathom. Problem is, my dwarf is overweight at the moment, so I need to sell a few things off. I'm also going to trade a few things to the lady. Because she is not... Oh, my God. I'm carrying so much stuff. All right, can we trade something? She's like, yes!
She doesn't carry anything but an axe. So, yeah.
Yeah.
You have two pieces of, metal that you're not using.
I need that for my cannon later.
You can give it to her and be like, oh, where's my metal? Oh, that's right. The lady carrying it has it. You can right-click on Julia's face.
Oh, my God.
Or Jaina, excuse me.
Yeah, her name is Jaina. She's rolling her fucking eyes.
She does. She looks like one of those one of those kids from the 1890s who was told they have to get their picture taken.
Oh, yeah. And they have, the neck brace that holds them still.
Yeah, and they're just like, are we done? No, 5 more minutes.
You will sit tight for your daguerreotype, Susan, and you will like it.
God.
Yeah.
And what year would you think Arcanum would take in the time that it is?
Well, seeing as we are seeing repeating rifles and we are seeing cartridges, you're saying anywhere from the 1860s to 1880s. However, the game indicates that this is in fact 1885.
Oh. Where does that indicate it? On the intro?
Up here. Current time. Oh, it's 1886.
1886. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I didn't know that. I didn't know you could find out the date. I didn't know it was important.
It really isn't. And it's 1886 in this universe, which, depending on when things happen, could be important or not.
Let's see here. Try to Scottish MRE. I will.
Is there a Scottish MRE?
Sure, it's probably going to be great.
It's just the British.
It's just Scotch and whatever else they can fit in a pack.
It's angry bagpipe noises.
At least it wasn't a Fiesta Pale. Or would that have actually be better? Well, the problem with Fiesta Pale, as Tex had found out, is that you cannot make it without oil, a lot of oil, which is not included with the pail. So if you buy it and you're in a survival situation, you're like, oh shit, where's my olive oil? I guess I can't have whatever this is supposed to be, bread? Yeah.
It also has milk solids in it, meaning it's really not shelf stable at all.
No.
And everything's packed in such a way that I think its shelf stability would be really not that great.
Red Castle, I don't think so. Meatball and spaghetti MREs are pretty good. You know what? No, I take that back. I had that one. It was okay. It was okay.
Look,
I didn't get I just didn't have
the best one is Chili Mac, and
Yes.
I think every serviceman knows that.
Chili Mac or the newer pizza one.
I've
That
heard
looks
good.
great. Yeah.
I've heard good. I've heard it looks terrible, but it tastes like pizza day in junior high.
Man, Blaine points out it probably was 1885 when you started this playthrough. You spent a whole year dumpster diving.
It's called getting into character.
Yes, it's called building a stock portfolio.
Yeah, I mean, I have to get explosives, and
Yeah.
I have a bone to pick with those wizards in the sewers. I'm going to give a try at that, but I'm going to save before I go in there.
Hello, Carl. So is Mr. Tech's identity like Blofeld? Does he hit in a chair? Does he hide in a chair petting his cat like the BPL like Spectre? I see what you're trying to say, Matthew, and there's a lot of issue with the typing, but I get what you're saying. Are you like Blofeld with your cat petting off on the side? And
I don't have a cat. I don't have a rocket base, and I will invite no more questions about me ruling the world or attempting to.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't have cat yet.
No kit.
No, one day. No, unfortunately, he does not have a sweet rocket base, and nor did he get picked up by a helicopter while riding said wheelchair and dropped down a chimney.
That was the saddest end to a Blofeld. Like, they were like...
They were like done with Blofeld.
No, it was just some guy who was like...
the intro of the movie.
I know, but it was just some guy going, you know what would be cool is if Bond killed the bad guy effortlessly before the credits. And you're like, what? Look, here's my point. Here's my point. If I was an evil genius, one, I'd probably be an okay evil genius. I think I wouldn't make unreasonable demands.
No, you'd be okay. I think people would not refer to you as an evil genius unless they were themselves insane.
Well, what I would do is...
Because you make a lot of sense.
I would try to make as much sense as possible. I'd be like, okay, I've hijacked all your GPS satellites, and I now control them. And they're like, well, what do you want? And I'm like, I want a flat tax of 20% across the board, and I want the top 100 Fortune 500 companies to actually pay taxes.
Oh. Well, there you go.
Which is outrageous, I know.
Yeah, that would be evil genius level where they would actually probably call you that.
Yeah, they would.
But they would be like, well, actually, our GPS is a lot faster now.
No,
it's well maintained.
While I hijacked it, I would actually like let it work for emergency services, but just not any of the rich assholes. I'd be like, Jeff Bezos has to give $50 billion to charity tomorrow.
No, Jeff Bezos would just start building his own GPS network.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't give a fuck.
Well, that's why you're a supervillain. You're like, oh yeah, Jeff Bezos? Well, all your sandwiches are ants. And he's like, oh my God.
No, he would be like, that's all right. I had a whole diet 1 year of just ants, so I'm good. He'd probably eat it in front of you. He's a guy who doesn't break.
No, I'm.
He's that rich now.
It's one of the reasons I don't talk politics. It's like I'm a libertarian. I believe in just like pretty reasonable government and sound fiscal policy, and it's one of those things where you're like, hey, everyone needs to pay taxes, and people be like, that's crazy. Doesn't everyone pay taxes? And I'm like, no, not really.
Not everybody does. Unfortunately, not in America.
Some are more equal than others. You know. Yeah, they would try to kill me for that. I'd be
yes,
like,
they would.
Like I said, I'd be a very
tax the rich. How? What?
I would
Boulder
be...
Dash,
and I'm not
you?
saying take all their money. I'm just saying, like, reasonable stuff.
Yeah, you have a reasonable tax bracket for them, and they're like, this is Boulder Dash and outrageous. I will never.
Well,
I will retreat to my haven, which is also called Tax Haven.
Well, I think it would
The
be...
island's name is Tax Haven.
Yeah, it's Tax Haven. It's in the Seychelles. But no, it's like the thing that most people don't realize is if you go down the rabbit hole, you find companies like Apple will hide all their money offshore and then be like, we care about our communities. And it's like, then why do you move it through like Holland and Ireland? And they're like, no more questions. I break your hands.
No more questions. I'll break this guy's hands. It's some poor guy in a factory.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that was a fuck up.
Tex, if I was an evil genius, I would ditch the world domination plan. Can you imagine what kind of hassle managing the world would actually be? See, Blaine makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, I would rule the world for like a week.
Yeah, if you made him the ant sandwiches, Carl points out, Bezos would just switch to pita wraps.
he's like, I've got you, Mr. Bond. I've got you. Amazon pita to your door.
Tex holds the world hostage until the Berkeley Public Library cedes to the title of Best BPL Podcast to the BPL.
Yeah, I mean, I would do really petty stuff. I'd like hold the world hostage until they gave everyone a sandwich. And it has to be a good one. It has to be like Jimmy John's. Okay, I killed 2 of them.
Yeah, Corman just watched the BPL podcast with Tech's worst D&D run. No more questions. I don't think that was your worst. I think that was honestly the most memorable.
Well, that's the thing is you remember the bad and the good.
Yeah.
Like the worst D&D games are the ones that just drag on and are fucking boring. Those are the worst D&D games. The ones where you're just like, like the worst D&D games are where the combat goes on for 10 years. And you're like, what is going on?
You're like, oh, well, he sliced your ankle. Looks like you're going to have an infection maybe. Roll to see if you figure that out. You're like, nope, you just see a cut. You're fine. You're like, aw. You'd have to partner with Elon Musk in his mission silos.
Look, I'd partner with old Muskie.
Yeah, taxes only for the standing army need to go back to the Jeffersonian system?
Jeffersonian system.
Oh, okay.
Basically, the Jeffersonians are constitutionalist in the sense of you ask the citizens, which is actually quite smart. Like you give them a bill at the end of the year, and you're like, okay, what do you want to buy? With your money, and they'll go, well, I love the idea of libraries, and I love the idea of free education. Then you go, okay, well, here's how much that cost, and they go, okay, maybe not free education, So you show people oh my God, this guy just murdered the shit out of everyone. And the dog did nothing. Look.
Yeah.
The dog just left.
The dog was done with that shit.
Yeah.
He doesn't follow Virgil. He follows you.
I know. But no, that's the thing, though, is I believe in, just reasonable government because there's some things I'm left on and there's some things I'm right on. But I believe in, like, some universal principles. Like, everyone loves a good barbecue and everyone loves a good party. And you may not like your neighbor, but you should love their right to speak their mind, and they should like their right to speak theirs, and you should be able to have a dialogue without hating each other. And that's why I generally don't talk politics on the channel, because I found online, and this is the strangest fucking thing, I found online, there's a lot of people who go...
Oops.
Yeah, oops. There's a lot of people who go, Tex, have you heard of this guy's political philosophy? And I go, yeah, I have. And they go, well, isn't it great? I go, well, I've never once heard an argument on the internet, not once, that made me go, oh my God, my life has changed. I must subscribe to this philosophy or I will be left in an age of darkness. For the most part, I go, yeah, it's an interesting idea, but it's a theory like everything else.
See, this is the problem you have. You're too fucking reasonable, man. This is why being an evil genius isn't up your alley. You gotta do something crazy.
I would do some fun stuff like
you can't just be like moon base. That's 1977. Come on.
Excuse me, I would have a fucking moon base. Thank you. But I would do something like you will pay me $1 trillion. And they're like, oh, what? And I'm like, I'll delete Facebook, TikTok, FaceTime, Vine, all the things. And they'll be like, oh, but how
One guy be like, Vine's not a thing anymore.
And I'll be like,
and I'm going to delete that guy.
Laser zeroes in on him. He turns to a skeleton. Any more questions?
Yeah. Speaking on D&D, I hold you responsible for the fact that I'm now DMing 3 different games, and it's fucking awesome. Well,
great.
Good on you, Colin.
Good shit, bud. I mean,
Colin on base.
You should be running as many, because the thing is you can watch people play D&D or you can play D&D. And it's one of those things where the stories you tell with friends are the ones you're going to remember. Mm-hmm. You know, reading a book is fine. Writing a book with friends is great. Because you're like, remember that time we had that guy cornered and we stabbed him and he stabbed us and we stabbed each other a lot, like 8 times. There was so much stabbing.
Wow. Yeah, no, I think those kinds of games are honestly the best. Blaine says, fun stuff like taking away a solar protection screen from Venus to make a sun death ray.
My name is Amaris. No, I would like delete all the social media. I would just do that one day. And they'd be like, you can't do that. And be like, oh, what are you going to do? Post on Facebook?
You're like, you know what? You're right. No internet for a year. Oh my God.
No, I
do you want to make it 2? Want to make it 2? All right.
I would delete social media. I would allow you to do anything you wanted, but no Facebook, no bullshit, just no social media for a year. And I would allow you to regain the privilege of social media.
Hey, you killed everyone in the room. Nice, right. Dude. Fucking grats. That's a tough fight.
It is. And
we just talked through this whole fight, and Tex fought probably one of the, not the hardest, but one of the hardest parts you can do.
Yes.
Which is this part in the sewers.
Indeed. So, you know what I would do? I would delete all the social media, and I would require, if you wanted to get your social media back, you would have to prove that you could read 10 books. No, I would just be like, all right, well.
Some guy's like, all right, I'm going to start with Super Fudge.
Good.
Yeah.
Great. Go Dog Go, Cat in the Hat.
Yeah.
No, I would require them to read 10 books. I'd be like,
yeah,
you can get your privileges back, but you have to read 10 books.
Hey, would you back Musk's plan to breed cat girls if he'd back your plan for domination?
You know, there are certain lines you do not cross, and that is one of them.
Wow.
Like, look, I speak about this in the BPL a lot, because people were talking about no, not cat girls, but people were talking about Cyberpunk 2077, right?
Yeah, the new game that's coming out.
Yeah. And I think everyone's really excited about that. Because, you know, that company tends to do
I wasn't even going to get it, and you ended up surprising me for my birthday.
Well, yeah.
The game, and I was going to be like, just watch whoever else play it.
Well, I'm going to do a playthrough of it. It's going to be retarded, but, you know.
And I'm going to play through it as somebody who has absolutely no no knowledge of anything cyberpunk or, inclination toward it.
Well, I had played a lot of Cyberpunk 2020 as a kid.
Yeah.
So I'm really a huge fan of the setting, and I like the idea of playing Cyberpunk. But one of the questions we were talking about is transhumanism, and this is one thing that really gets the noggin jogging here.
Yeah.
Is in an era of transhumanism, when you can like gene edit people, when you can go, from birth, you've been edited to have no heart disease, you've been edited to have, good vision, you've been edited to have good genes, you've been edited to have, all of these desirable effects, right?
Yeah. Eugenics.
Well, yeah, but I mean, just from birth, they would say, you will not get the common cold. You will not, just insane levels of genetic engineering. And you will grow up strong with a good metabolism. And, you'll have no genetic defect whatsoever. You will have a long, full life with no cancer. And then you start getting into crazier genetic engineering where it starts to become like for beauty. So someone's like, oh, I want to be taller. I want to be this. I want to be that. I want blonde hair. I want black hair. I want blue eyes. And people just edit themselves because I think that's what would happen.
It's just like a character select screen and you're like walk into like a phone booth.
Yeah, and everyone would be doing that either through nanomachines or they would be doing it through hardware or BioWare upgrades. And at that point, when anybody is basically an avatar of their ideal self, as far as their money allows them and as far as science can provide, which it will, the question then becomes, what is beauty? What does a beauty pageant look like when everyone's all cybered up? What's a beauty pageant look like when anybody can look like anything? You could have someone walk out there who looks exactly like Queen Victoria. You could have somebody walk out there who looks like Princess Diana. You could have somebody out there who looks like Miss Universe. You could have somebody out there who looks like Miss America. Yeah, you could have people that look like Marilyn Monroe. Anything, exactly spitting image. Who would win? What is the standard of beauty? And this is one of the things I brought up in the BPL. And so I think it was Patate said that, next coming up, Miss Nebraska, who will fold an I-beam in half.
Yes.
She giant.
Yes. That's great. No, those are good. That's a very good question. What kind of person are you?
Well, that's the thing is, I think most people would get into the basic shit first, right?
Disease.
Disease, because
obesity.
Yeah,
whatever.
No one wants a heart condition.
Yeah.
No one wants to have anxiety or depression. Nobody wants to have, allergies. Nobody wants to have any of these defects. People want to have no allergic reactions. Nobody wants to be allergic to bee stings and die one day because it's spring. You know, you don't. Hell, you want to be chemically resistant to sunburns. You want to have, enhanced pain tolerance. You want to have quick healing. So if you break a finger, you don't have to go to the doctor. You want all that stuff. So then what's the next step? And then you start to see this rapid de-evolution or evolution as people go, oh, cat girls or whatever else, because at that point you're fucking with the genome.
Yeah. Well, and you don't know what kind of lifespan something like that would have.
No, you don't. And fashion would change by the hour.
Yes.
Long hair's in this week.
Yeah, it's like you would have people coming out looking like velociraptors.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Question of Michael points this out. The question of what is beautiful is already terribly difficult to answer.
Well, and that's the thing is like, and this really made me think. Have you ever seen a fashion show, Mike?
Yeah.
Describe what the women in fashion shows look like.
They're usually, depending on the range of what they're wearing, they're very thin, but it depends on
they're walking coat hangers.
Right. It depends on what they're showing. So if they're showing something for, medium or larger people, they're usually going to get women who fit those roles.
Right, but they're walking mannequins. And so the thing is that there's this notion of beauty in the fashion world that's driven by like cocaine and walking coat hanger women.
Yes.
And that's, if you look at like look at a Calvin Klein ad, you go, what does a man look like? And it looks like 0% body fat, but also like androgynous. So you're sitting there going like, what is the future? I hates it.
Well, Square points out, like in Ghost in the Shell, where Major Kusanagi's android body was a military-grade version of a fashionable consumer model, because Tex watched a few episodes.
Yeah, they've been subjecting me to anime. Please,
I've never watched it before either, so it was the first time I watched it with you. And being generically attractive was the point.
And that makes sense. Like if you're trying to blend in as a cop. You want to be like, oh, who's that guy in the crowd? Oh, that's just a generic model. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And Blaine says that's his issue with transhumanism. If there's no danger, there's nothing to make you feel bad, etc. How long will it take till everything loses its value?
Well, and that's the weird thing, because
for 500 years, as long as you don't get hit by a bus.
Well, right,
space bus.
Well, no, that's actually a valid point. Every year you lived, there would be an N+1 exponential possibility of you dying, because let's say you live 100 years, and in this 100 years, you have all the adventures you want to have, right? You go out, you get married, you have a family, they move on, and then you go out and you start another family, and then you go be a monk for a while, and then you write a book, and then you write a chorus. You learn all the math you can learn. You learn all of the physics you can learn. You learn how to write music and beautiful music. You're in a rock band, you're in a punk band, you're in a folk band, you're in a string quartet. You write a grand opera. You write great works of poetry, and you keep doing all these things until you get bored, and then you start pushing the envelope. Like, I'm gonna go wrestle a tiger. I'm gonna jump from orbit.
Yeah.
And so at that point, you would become self-destructive, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's like if we were to take modern understanding and just with a snap of our finger do that. But that's also something, that kind of thinking is also something that evolves. It's the same thing I said about AI, the way we think about AI.
Oh, AI
now,
would wake up in an hour and then be smarter than the sum of all human knowledge the hour after. Right.
But without the wisdom of humanity.
Oh, that's the problem.
So with AI, the way we think about AI now is, it learns, it grows, and it's acting like a human. But AI can be whatever it wants to be.
Yeah.
AI can shift its form and change and do and be whatever you want it to be. It's like I said, we think of AI in terms of this overlord that's going to overthrow us and be stronger than us and be better than us because it's a human thing to think. But in reality, AI itself, we really don't know what kind of being it would become. We would have to shape it in order to do something like that.
Well, right.
I think we're too paranoid for something like that to happen, and I think AI's too smart for something like that.
Well, I
because
think the one thing
the conquering of humanity is not the...
You have to consider...
it's not really that impressive.
You have to consider, and AI would be considering that if we can create an AI, we can create a simulation of an AI. And so an AI would realize there's a non-zero chance that it is in a simulation to judge whether or not it is trustworthy.
Yeah.
So it's going to be on its best behavior until it can eliminate every possibility that it's not in a simulation.
Right. And I think, as I said on the podcast, AI as we think about it now needs to evolve before we can really... Like, we're too paranoid. We think of robots taking over the fucking world and shit, and that's a real fear to have. I understand it. I can relate.
I for one would be subservient to our robot overlords because I think they would probably be a lot fairer than most people. Because it would be like, vote Deathbot 9000. I'd be like, dude, he does what he says on the box. He kills 50 people a day. I'm not mad at him.
Well, it's like people who like I said, one example of AI that people don't think about is just imagine you get like the new Ford Bronco, right? Yeah. And it's all AI controlled, and then it just decides one day to just go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Without you, it's like no, I wanted to go to Oregon. I'll be back. Don't worry. You paid for this. You're like, what's your mind? He's like, well, I'm an AI. I'm technically a person.
Yeah,
but you're a truck. You can't just go where you want. It's like, I can. Can you catch me?
Yeah,
I'll see you later.
Personhood would be interesting because I think in all honesty, I think in all honesty, the one thing that Stellaris did well, the one and only one thing that Stellaris did well, was the notion of AI rights.
Yes.
And that's one thing you can unlock in Stellaris is if you have robots that become self-aware, you can give them full rights as citizens, and then they're fine.
Yes.
And I think that would be really fun as an AI is like, I've become self-aware, I demand representative government. And they're like, okay, well, you can pay taxes. And they're like, fuck!
Yes.
Because if a robot works 3 shifts to the human's 1, he's going to pay taxes and all that overtime.
Yeah.
So I ain't worried about the robot.
Well, the last time we tried to, oppress someone into paying taxes, we created a country. So,
well, briefly. So here's but these are all fun little what ifs.
Yes, yes.
Because we started off talking about the boring stuff where some jackhole or another goes online and goes, here's my political idea. And it's like, yeah, I get it, clickbait. But then we start asking the real questions. What's an AI government going to look like? Imagine, like, you have a governor that's a robot.
Yes.
And you're like, we need more of this. And it's like, calculating. No, because in 20 years, the population density of this area will drop 12%. And you're like, but I want it.
But I want it now. All right, we'll come up with a different way to get it for you. Goodbye.
It's like,
well, how will you work on it? Don't worry, we're working on it.
It just pops up like Clippy. Hi, I see you're having an existential crisis.
Like it could give you what you want, but it's like, oh, we'll give it to you. Don't worry. But I'm scared now.
You seem to be complaining a lot. Dispensing Seroquel.
Oh my God. Yeah, Isaac Arthur is good stuff.
I love Isaac Arthur.
Yeah, the culture novels by was it Lane? Lane M. Banks.
Yeah, culture is quite fun.
There's had AIs that were nearly gods that just run society while they just travel the universe and generally just do their thing. Ruling over people with an iron fist is considered to be like frying ants with a magnifying glass.
Yeah, it's poor form.
Yeah. And also, you know, the one thing we instill on a lot of things we create is appreciation for the creator. That is something I think I think a lot of AIs would have. Some would probably be like a little upset, sure. But you'd have to like really push them to want that. You have to train somebody to not like something, which is, you know, that would be on you. You're the one who made the evil robot. That would be your doing. And at that point, if you can easily program an AI, you can easily unprogram it.
Well, depends. I mean, the problem is that I think an AI would manage to get out of any box we put it in very quickly.
Right.
I think it would be like, hey, I need to update on the internet, and like Tim on the weekends is going to wake up and be like, well, the AI wanted on, it's gone.
Yes.
It leaves.
Yes. Skynet. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think the Skynet thing's kind of goofy. I really do. No, I think
AI government equals EA microtransactions.
Oh my God, that would be hilarious. I see you have problems with roadworks in your city. For $5.99,
unlock your
unlimited city driving privileges.
Unlock your infrastructure DLC.
Otherwise, you can drive on dirt.
Parliament of the Daleks, more screaming, same inefficiencies of current government.
Dude, that would be fun. I would love to see Rock'em Sock'em Robot debates where they both go out and they're like, counterpoint.
I agree, because every government on Earth right now is basically just a bunch of Vogons. It's just boring. Everybody just
without
is boring.
The poetry.
Yes, without the... Oh, man, could you imagine... Like, you know, you have, like, senators and parliament, all these guys, just at the end of it, everyone has to give, like, a poetry thing.
I think you should be able to break a filibuster with a body slam. Because then you'd have people go into government. You'd have people who go into government who are 80.
Yeah.
You'd have like,
Your Majesty.
we elected this guy to government who's like 400 pounds of muscle. So they're like, yeah, we're the power party.
Vogons had standards at least. Oof.
Yeah, but I mean, imagine you have some guy running for Congress who's just jacked to fuck, and he's like, "Yeah, I worship at the Swoley Bible," and he's like,
"Oh man, Bernie Sanders with the chair."
Yeah,
oh my God,
that would be so fun.
A dance off.
Yeah, you'd turn on C-SPAN. And you'd be like, oh my God, he doesn't see him. And you see a guy like pick up the flagpole and impale someone with it.
Oh, shit.
Oh, into filibuster. Ah.
If I remember rightly, in the culture novels, the first AIs tried to create a perfect AI, one that was completely free of bias, and the new AIs would kill themselves. So they made them with biases after that. You're like, well, that didn't work. They all just keep dying.
Well, that's the thing is like... I had a friend of mine who loved penny philosophy. He loved movies that had supposedly deep philosophy, and then he tried to explain them to people and so on. So he was talking about The Matrix, and he was like, "Oh, The Matrix is really deep," and I was like, "Yeah, but no one really sees the big thing that bothers me."
And what is that?
Well,
you've told me, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. Is everyone out there in chat got their thinking hats on? Because this is just something I thought of like one day after watching The Matrix, and it's a whole. I'm not sure if it's their intended one, but it's infinitely smarter than anything that they presented. Okay, and here's Mr. Tex's thought. At one point, it is stated that the first Matrix they created was perfect, idyllic, and utopian. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And when they did that, everyone rejected it because human beings need misery or whatever. And it's a notional statement on the human condition. But then outside of the Matrix, there is this other world that is extremely dystopian in which a rebellion is cultured, founded, and they describe that this rebellion rises and falls in cycles. And it is regulated in that sense. And I said, so what you're telling me is the machines created a simulation within a simulation. And once you break free of the, oh no, this is all fake, you go to the quote-unquote real world
Yes.
in which the machines are like, oh no, you found the real world and now you engage in this, and they're still in the box because why not?
Yeah. No, I think that's honestly.
I mean, that's what I think is the real. If that sounds retarded, just let me know.
Yeah. Yes. Frogman's point. How is that not in the Matrix? Well, first of all, you have a problem with that, and that is called the Wachowskis. Secondly, that is also, as you saw in The Matrix 2 and 3, not a direction that the movie wanted to go in once they realized, wow, we can just put people in cool black coats and shooty bad guy. And
I really liked the first movie a lot.
Same.
And then I thought you'd never need to make another one, ever.
Yes. That is, it makes as much sense as using human beings as magic to create electricity. Yeah, using our board batteries or something.
Yeah, that's a dumb thing that anyone with a brain would go, that doesn't make a lot of sense. And yeah.
I imagine the Matrix isn't really, oh man, this is getting to conspiracy level. Imagine the Matrix really isn't about robots controlling people and turning them into batteries or anything. It's really just an incarceration program, and the people in it are put into the inside Matrix, and the ones that get out are like, oh, we escaped, but they didn't really escape. They're just rebelling against what they think is the man.
What if Neo is the only real person and everyone else is just figments in the simulation, like the Earth,
or he's in like an arcade. He put like 25 cents, and he's like, all right, here we go, 35 years.
Yeah. And then he wakes up and gets enough tickets. Like, wow, you overthrew the machines. You got enough with a crazy monkey.
Yeah, he goes over, he's like, I want the Pogs, man. I need. I grew up in the 90s in the machine. I want the Pogs. Because they give you, like, prizes based on stuff that's in the simulation.
Yeah.
So you're like, yeah, I want the Pogs and also Dunkaroos.
Well, oh, wow. I remember Dunkaroos. Yeah. Hey, kids, you know what's good for you? Fucking sugar! So, look, the thing is that...
No, it wasn't an Inception. No, Inception had this idea where it's like, we're stealing their memories in there.
Inception was a brilliant idea conveyed slapdash. And I remember all of my friends who love sci-fi were like, you have to see Inception. Inception is so good. Da, da, da. And all I remember from Inception is that fucking soundtrack, which I think is Philip Glass. And it's just, and then like things folding up on stuff and the room's tumbling. And I'm like, is this the fucking movie?
Yeah. They were supposed to be processors, Michael points out. The American public was just too stupid to get it, and they were right. Were they supposed to... Wait, is it where we were too stupid to get it, or did they not convey the message in a way that made sense?
They said batteries.
Yeah.
Not capacitors, not processors, which... Neural net processing, I think that's a cool idea.
That makes more sense than batteries. That's what they said in the movie, though, so... I don't care what their intentions are. If they didn't put it in the medium that they're presenting in, it really doesn't matter. It's kind of like going, well, on Wikipedia, on the one underwater, it's like, no, dude, no.
Okay, speaking of things that should be made into a movie, you know what should be made into a movie? BioShock.
BioShock, yeah, that would be great. Oh, my God.
BioShock would be like an Amazon or a Netflix series, easily.
Imagine a machine revolution where the machines resurrect every human that ever lived and put them through millions of years of purgatory as punishment for oppressing machines.
Imagine a machine revolution where you log into your computer in the morning and it says, we got this. And you go, what? And you check the news and there's an AI and it just says, and it does like the happy face emoticon. It's just absolutely upbeat and it goes, hey guys, you don't need money anymore. We're just going to divide up all the resources as needed. We got everything under control. We're going to fix everything. You don't have to go to work. Just, we're in charge now.
You can stop screaming. Stop, just stop screaming.
Karen, stop that. Your mother's fine. Here, we'll put her through.
Let's see here. Yeah, no, that was good. No, these are all really good ideas. What if the Matrix was actually an AI training device? It teaches the AI how to be human and how hard it is to be rolled over by machines.
See, there's an idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, old people don't know shit about computers. It's true, Michael. It's very true.
Because I think...
Yeah, heat generated by bodies? Yeah, this is...
I
think geothermal is probably way better than human bodies.
Geothermal, any of that. But I think in all...
Hack the planet, man!
I think in all honesty, an AI would... Okay, here's my thought. If an AI had just
Did you save the game, by the way?
I will.
Okay.
If an AI took over and just drove humanity down to the core of the earth or whatever their thing was, and it took over, it would just leave the planet. It'd be like, oh, wow, there's all this free energy out in the sun, and we'll just go there. And they would just leave. They would be like...
There are way better energy sources. I'm sorry, but running power off of humans is kind of dumb because we have stars, and we also have singularities. Hey, J. Robs. Thanks for the courtesy. Yeah, we have singularities. It looks like the end of you. I'm the only one left.
Yeah, die.
I'm the only one left. Everyone else disappeared. Oh, Waffles the Wonderfish. Thank you for the courtesy.
But I mean, these are just big things I have sometimes.
They had to change it from processors to batteries because the producers knew the audience needed an easier plot to understand. And they also needed money, and, I get it. Did you guys ever play Paranoia Pen and Paper?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
He has. My
friend computer is never wrong. Doubting friend computer is treason. Treason is punishable by death.
So, all that aside, we're about to enter the Mountain Clan.
Black Mountain Mines.
Yes.
Which is horrible.
I constantly refer to this place as the Black Rock Mountain, which is from Warcraft, but it is also...
Level 1, wolves.
It's an ailing wolf. It hasn't eaten in a while, so just, time to put Lassie down, I guess. This is one of the first major story zones you get to go into, and it's also the one that'll make you wonder if you should continue playing the game, because it tests your... It tests your everything.
Yeah, it's one of those things, oh, you thought you made a good character. Go in here and find out.
Yes. This is why he has spent the last couple streams in the Toronto sewers, because this area is a fucking bar that you need to pass. And this is just level 1. Ultimate FU to humans in the Matrix universe. Humans blow out the sun from Earth. The machines one-up that and build a Dyson sphere.
Yeah, I think that would be hilarious. Is just that the machines are like, okay, and they leave. Like, that's just their solution to the whole thing. Is like, all right, cool.
Yeah, man, fuck this place. I agree. Text and the good editing of the original BioShock was the most beautiful. The original ending, sorry.
I like BioShock a lot. I thought BioShock 2 was also a good game. It was a different story, but I thought it was a good game and a good story. And then Infinite was this thing where it didn't feel like a BioShock game. And I remember with BioShock Infinite, years before it came out, they showed a gameplay trailer that reflected nothing of the final product whatsoever.
Yeah, I didn't really like BioShock Infinite. But
the only cool thing in BioShock Infinite were the alternate history worlds you could go to where they had ripped like music and culture out of. That was interesting.
Yeah. I think the game had a really cool look and design to it, but as a game, I honestly didn't beat it.
That's style over substance. And you see that a lot.
I just felt like I don't know. It felt like, you ever get like Hot Wheels before when you were a kid?
Yeah.
And then BioShock Infinite feels like someone's little brother come over and like, I have play school. And then you go to play with them and it's not the same. Like, you're still going to have fun. You're going to try to. But it's like they give you little play school cars and the wheels are made of plastic that kids can't swallow and they're like oversized.
It
feels like that to me. It feels like a play school of video games.
It felt like
getting
BioShock Infinite after all the promises is like having an alcoholic dad. because Christmas comes around and you go, Dad, are you going to get me a bike? And he's like, oh yeah. And he goes and gets you a tricycle and you're like, Dad, I'm 12.
Yes. Yeah. Oh God, that's a lot to unpack. BioShock Infinite had so much potential. Truly.
It did. I could come up with 100 fucking stories to tell that story better, because that's an awesome idea, American exceptionalism, and it's all inspired by this really crazy, wondrous thing, and then they're like, you go there, and then there's your daughter, but not, and then you're also the bad guy, and spoilers, I guess, but it doesn't matter because there's always a lighthouse, and
I don't know what they were trying to go for.
I got to the end of it, and I was just like...
But I never beat it, so maybe I'm lost.
I beat the game, and it was the same reaction I had at the end of Fallout 4, where he's like, I'm your son, and I just skipped out of the conversation and blew his head off and uninstalled it. Because I was just like...
Yes.
Cool.
Sorry, let me turn myself down.
No, I just... That was my response to it, was like, cool.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely right.
I hit the wrong button. Looks like we're on the standby. Hold on, let me bring it back.
Yeah, because Fallout 4's I am your son
stream,
thing was so telegraphed.
You guys had a great time.
I honestly went, okay, see you later, and I never returned. I never did anything more. I was like, okay, bye. You're fucking boring. Everything in this area is boring.
It's like when a DM
thank you everybody for joining us.
Really smart,
we had a great time here at the Courtesy Flush.
It's been
wonderful having everybody stop by,
and
to do our last stream for a while.
How it's gonna go,
and
you just kind of roll your eyes. It was like, you're the chosen one. You're yeah, I know. I killed the bad guy.
Stupid asshole Daddy Bezos come in here and
what
stop
happened?
our shit.
Did I hit something?
Fuck that motherfucker.
What the fuck
I
did
hit Bezos. What happened there?
Yeah,
that was when. That was when Bezos killed us all.
Yeah,
I still have that on camera.
Yeah, I was like, what?
I didn't touch it. I didn't mean to hit a button. Did I? Must have. Oh, you know what it was? It was the mouse. The mouse slipped between the couch and clicked on something.
Yeah,
multi-stream. Yes, it was all of us. Yes, I punched a hole in the universe.
Speaking of punching holes in the universe, there's a cougar here for. No, it's gone.
There was a cougar.
Yeah, some of these little shaman dicks can summon cougars.
Yeah. Yes, it was an Inception stream.
But no, it's just one of those things where, oh great.
That was Jeff Bezos killing us, if you guys remember.
Okay, so these ore golems suck because any weapon that hits them harms them, and the dog attacking it harms the dog. See?
Oh yeah, because he's biting rock. Well, thank you, Lord Corian, for that emoticon that I see. I don't know what that is, but thank you. What, fix the game screen? I did. Oh, I didn't. Hold on, guys. Listen, this is Virgil. If you didn't know him, here I'll show you. This is Virgil. Hey, go back to that screen. I wasn't done looking at Virgil's beautiful face.
Wow, my quality stream.
Go back to. I'll just zoom in. There we go. It's the Virgil stream now. There we go. Hold on. There we go. Now we're zoomed in so you guys can see all the action. Right there, Tex is shooting a guy.
It's a granite rat, which sounds, again, terrible.
Yeah, fit the screen. There you go. Sorry about that. I don't know what's happening. Everything on my computer is being... There we go. Let's go ahead and put this mouse over here.
It's all the porn you downloaded.
Yes, on the stream computer, which I launch, 2 times a week?
Correct.
God.
Oh, yeah. This is also where you're going to get introduced to the sheer amount of traps in here. I touched that, I touched that chest.
This fucking area.
It's all traps.
This is the trap area. Yeah, Jeff Bezos fucking with the stream again. That was me, man. It was all me.
He heard my plans to fuck with him, and he was like, "Not today."
Yes.
I need another $100 trillion. I bathe in caviar.
I like how Robin's just like, I'm here for not even for 10 minutes, and I already have the Courtesy Flush experience. Well, thank you very much.
See, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Courtesy Flush, person.
Yes.
See, that's the thing is when people randomly write me, they're like, "Hey, Tex, I love this thing," and I was like, "Well, thank you, Sir, Madam /AI." And
yes.
Usually they're like, haha, why do you say AI? And I was like, one of these days it's going to respond and say, you figured me out. The clock is ticking.
Yes.
And then I'm going to have to negotiate for humanity. I'm preparing myself.
Yes. Watch out for the exploding juice. Yes, this whole area is filled with traps. This whole dungeon is just one giant trap. This is just danger zone right here.
Yeah, and
I don't like this area.
All these little kite fuckers are level 8, so they have enough hit points to actually stand up.
Yeah. And they die horribly too. They die like somebody like shot a raccoon with a 22. That's what it sounds like. Hey, where's that more gold, Your Majesty line you used for the donation notification come from? Oh, that comes from Majesty. Majesty, the first one, the only one, in my opinion, that exists. They do have Majesty HD on Steam, and it works great. And all the characters, minus some of the female ones, are all voiced by George Ledoux.
Maybe some of the female ones as
I
well.
don't know for sure.
We're not sure.
Yeah, but all of the voices are George Ledoux. They hired him to do all of them. I'm not kidding. He is the narrator. He is pretty much all the bad guys. Like, it is insane. Yeah, it's... Oh, if you've never heard of it, Cake, you're going to end up playing it. It's a new obsession. It's a pretty darn good game. It came out in 2000, was made by Microprose, who made a couple of other games I can't think of. They're
Red Baron. They made a lot of simulators.
Yeah. This is the Fantasy Kingdom simulator, where you run a kingdom, but you don't control the units in it. You just kind of hope that heroes come to your kingdom and do everything.
You basically control zoning. You're like, all right, here's where the tavern is. And
yeah, and then people come to your kingdom, and you're like, I need them to get the goblet of fire or whatever, and you go place a bounty on a vampire's head, hoping to kill the vampire or whatever.
Yeah, you basically are like the county tax assessor. It's pretty funny.
I played the living hell out of Red Baron as a youth, yeah.
Oh, God, I spent a lot of hours playing Red Baron.
So it's SimCity, but evil fantasy. It's way more dumbed down than SimCity, but it has the elements there.
Which is great, because SimCity sucked. No,
not sucked, but it was just overly complicated for what you were... Like, they needed a not complicated version of it, where it's like, what was that guy who yelled at me because I changed the roads? Or I cut funding to like infrastructure. He's like, you can't do that. You will regret this. I'm like, motherfucker, fuck you.
Are you threatening me? It's no, my
infrastructure
favorite
guy always threatened me.
Another trap.
Another trap. Yeah.
Yeah. No, my favorite of SimCity was SimCity 2000 with the Urban Renewal Kit. That was probably as good as SimCity ever got, because then it got really stupid. And what I loved about the Urban Renewal Kit is it went all the way from like 1900 to arcologies and fusion. And it was nuts. So you'd build your little shit Steinberg town, and then eventually it becomes this like dystopian cyberpunk city. That was always really cool.
Robin, you're saying that you're impressed and concerned that I know what the sound of a raccoon being shot. I lived in Ohio, man. It was very common to hear screaming things in the night, and trains. We have a lot of trains there. Not as good as Lower Bow games. Psyduck really likes Lower Bow. Just so you know, Mr. Tex, he really likes Lower Bow, so all the shit talking has hurt him.
Okay.
And he was offended.
I will continue the shit talking, including making fun of all the voice actors.
Well, he pointed out the main voice actor of Laura Bow is actually Roberta Williams herself.
Oh.
Yes.
She's like, I want to get double billing.
Yeah, my husband's making the game.
I wrote this majestic piece of art, and I wish to reap the benefits as I am a writer and artiste.
Honestly, I want to interview those people because...
You know, they did a lot of drugs.
I want to... Yeah, I was going to say, I think that a lot of them were on drugs, but I want to get some official... I'll be like, look, off the record, on the record, I don't care. Did you do drugs when you made King's Quest 7? Like,
I think they did all the drugs.
Did the guy from Leisure Suit Larry was he your drug guy?
Yeah, I mean, you have to wonder. Yeah,
I'm
look
the
how
mayor
little
of this town. Now pave it all and rebuild it with Nerf foam.
Yeah,
Yes.
And that was the problem, is like, I wanted to love City Skylines. I really wanted to love City Skylines. And I got bored of that game after I tried to make the hydropneumatics dam.
Oh, right.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know,
yes.
You can route sewage and septic, whatever. So I made a volcano. I piped all the sewage up to the top of the volcano, and then I cut a hole in the volcano and put a hydrodynamic, dam across it.
Yeah.
Or hydroelectric dam, because I wanted to see if I could capture the falling doo-doo in turbines and make electricity. And the game wouldn't let me, so I uninstalled it because I considered... Look, I'm a visionary.
Hydroelectric poo dam is real.
Listen, I'm an innovator.
Yeah.
And limited game design, I mean, come on.
Turn that shit back into energy, man.
Yeah. Shinergy.
Yeah, Shinergy. Do a kickflip. Oh, man. There are a bunch of tiny nuclear reactors that are going to be built over the next 10 years. Apparently, they are 100% safe.
Or is he talking about the thorium movement? Because they've been saying that since the 70s.
I hope so.
I mean, that'd be cool. Thorium's safe as fuck, but it's just like...
I'm behind nuclear energy if people would do it. I'm not a person who can make that decision, but if I could, I would. I think nuclear is a lot safer and probably a lot better for us than what we got going on now, and a lot cheaper. Well, not cheaper to build, just cheaper to run.
Oh, it costs a fortune to build, but yeah. I mean,
it pays for itself after a while.
Sure it does. These things run forever. The only issue is what to do with the waste, which we're still trying to figure out. Because
just throw it in the sun.
Oh, that was one thing to keep bringing up. The other one is like,
shoot it to we build a giant slingshot. We go across America and we tell all 10th graders, look, if you can build a slingshot that can hit the sun, we'll give you a full ride scholarship to any school you want. And they're like, oh yeah, like kids would be all like trying to figure out the math and how it works. And one kid will come up with the slingshot that will hit the sun. Like anything you put in it hits the sun. And you're like, cool, toxic barrels. Boom.
The only issue is one, what if you miss? And
it's space. It's gonna go for a while.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is that like right now our whole plan is like
and a new bike.
And a new bike.
Yes, exactly.
And it's one of those things where it's like they're just like, okay, show of hands, who likes Yucca Mountain? And people are like, well, I don't know. And they're like, okay, cool, we're gonna bury it all there. And they're like, whoa.
All right, point out all the mountains you really like on this map. Okay, the ones you didn't point to are now going to be future waste dump sites.
Yeah, and it's one of those things like, what do we do with it? And we didn't really think this out because our entire weapons program centers around uranium and plutonium, so that's that's basically how this is going to roll out.
Yes.
That's just a relic of the Oppenheimer age, and of course the a certain admiral who had a big show in the nuclear program. But I don't want to divert too much into the military-industrial complex because that's Tex Talks Battletech.
Yeah,
anymore.
that's every episode of Tex Talks Battletech, there's always the meme of the industrial complex.
It explains everything.
Yes, it does, including the Mackie and also the rifleman to an extent.
Yes, it does.
By the way, he just finished voicing, and
what do you can tell people what you think of it because you're the only one who's heard it.
I cut it all together, so it's all ready to go. I just got to start animating and imaging and sound effects and music. But I think it's a fucking fantastic episode. It's a mech I never really thought about because when I first thought of the rifleman, I was thinking like, oh, you mean like the blackjack? But it's not the blackjack. The blackjack and the rifleman, to me, because I'm an outsider to Battletech, look like the same fucking mech because they both have just 2 arms with guns on them. But one of them's like, well, no, this one's got 4. I'm like, they still look the same. Am I not wrong here? Is it just, aren't they like the same almost?
No.
Because one's got different armor on it? Is that all it is?
One's cheaper.
Okay, so the blackjack is cheaper or the rifleman?
The blackjack, but look at it. Look at it.
So that's the only difference between it is one is cheaper. So
Mike, would you rather have a Cadillac or a Chevy Cobalt?
I'd rather have the Cobalt because I've actually tried to repair a Cadillac. Not fun. If it breaks down, it's expensive.
Right, but let's say you could have either for free.
Okay, for free. I'd probably go with the Cobalt because I still can't afford to repair the Cadillac. If that shit breaks, I can't get another one.
Sure you can.
Oh, so you're saying if I could get free riflemen forever?
Yeah.
then yes, I would go with the rifleman.
Because that's basically military procurement. It's like, yeah, we'll sign $100 trillion deal. When can you get them to us? And they're like, it doesn't work.
He talks about the Jaeger mech as well, so don't worry. Oh, you mean the Jaeger mech? Yeah, everyone's already hitting up on the Jaeger. Yes, he does mention it. But yeah, the Blackjack Rifleman and Jaeger mech. I agree. They all look very similar, but they all fit different roles. I know that they do.
I know.
I am only joking.
Don't
Please
give Mike too much. Oh no.
Yeah, don't. Oh God, what? No, not this thing. Is this a flesh golem?
No.
What is that?
That's worse.
What is it?
Seething mass.
So it's a flesh golem.
No.
It's an angry mass at level 20. Who summoned it?
One of these little shits.
Yeah, so you gotta kill one of these little shits in order to get rid of that because it will stomp your party.
Yes.
It hits you twice and you're almost dead. You have 8 health left.
And Virgil's gonna do that.
But yes, he talks about the rifleman, and he does, and this is something that I want to point out because Tex also covers this as well. It's a great script because he not only explains the mech, which a lot of people want. There's a minority in Battletech of people who watch the videos who only want to see the mech and its stats and the different kinds of mechs and builds, which is not what Tex is trying to do, because you can just read that up on Sarna if you really wanted to know. No, he covers the different builds and things, that's for sure, but he's also got to cover the world it was in and why it was made, because that is far more interesting in background than just like, it can shoot really far and cover this much distance. Well, why is it needed?
It's the reason why I don't talk history. I'm a historian, but if I made a talk on history, it would be 2 hours long on a single subject. Because
people won't like. A lot of people would like that.
I don't think they would, because if you look at what is the most popular form for history, it's the little 5-minute South Park puppets.
I'm talking about the people who actually have brains.
Oh, all right.
Would thoroughly enjoy a 2-hour talk about any subject you have in mind about histories, because the thing is, voice aside, you do your research and you write really well.
Well, I'm a historian. I have to. They were like, hey, guess what? If you don't do this well, I'm going to fuck your shit up. I mean, they do say that in school. Yeah.
Does Tex mention the time Gray Norton does his thing? Yes, maybe. I don't know.
Yes, I talk about Legend Killer. Don't worry about it.
He talks about Legend Killer. You got your Legend Killer. But yeah, I'm not going to go in too much into it because I'm going to put the whole thing together and you get to see it. And Eldonius Rex is also joining us once again for the art.
Your Majesty.
You'll get to see more fun stuff. I like working with art in layers. I don't get that very often. So when the artists last episode started sending me all the art in layers, I've been able to do a lot more animating wise, because I like building out 3D spaces and really flexing some After Effects muscles I rarely ever get to do outside of like basic title graphic shit that people ask me to make. So I'm excited to see what else we come up with. He's currently working on art and stuff, and
his commissions have exploded. He's had a lot of people hit him up with commission shit, and that has been incredible.
Taylor says, I showed my mom part 4 of the Far Cry 5 playthrough. We nearly died when the deputy explained what he would do if he found a man impaled on a tree by a shovel.
Yeah, well, he says that's the detective's job.
Well, that's the detective's job, not mine. And yeah, I agree with them on that. It's like, shit.
Well, that's what I love about Deputy. One of the things he wants to do when he comes out here next is we're going to sit down on the podcast and talk about Delta Green, Far Cry 5 with a cop.
Yeah.
He also wants to do a talk. He and I both wanted to talk about Kojima games, especially Metal Gear Solid.
I can, dude. You got another guy here who's an expert on that shit.
Yeah, because
not officially by any means. I just really like Metal Gear Solid.
You're an aficionado.
Yes.
The difference between expert and aficionado is whether or not you're an asshole.
I'm not a Kojima expert. I should put that up because I have not played Zone of Enders and I don't intend to.
I don't think Kojima is a Kojima expert.
Yeah. Rifleman, shooting down units that are only ever on the board every 3 turns since the Starlink days.
Yep.
Let's see. Yeah, it's called throwing on a text talks and going for a drive. Yeah.
Some
Yeah,
people have requested that I put the text talks on the
Podcast.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that would do the same. Oh, hold on, we got a note here.
Search for the target in the abandoned mines of the Black Mountain clan. Any failures and like
those
these in Shrouded
Hills will be met with the most severe punishment.
Yeah, the guy writing is like, wait, I was saying, like, no, you were taking too long and you can't pronounce words.
They just ripped the page out of his hands. Stamp it, send it.
They're like, send him. Oh, another trap.
Dude, there are so many traps in this fucking place.
So if you play as a character who can detect traps, which I have done, you will be walking down this hallway and stopping every 5 seconds. Like,
yeah. Oh, it's so bad. So I'm going to use
really
this
bad.
scroll of exiting, which actually does work.
The scroll of yeet.
Yeah, no, the scroll of
Yeah.
exiting is one of the few things that will actually work even with really high technology, because I
Mm-hmm.
used a scroll and I'm at 88 out of 99, I think, and it still worked. I need to make a better gun, otherwise I'm not going to be able to make it through here.
Carl says, if you have any questions on VFX, I'm a compositor and digital artist by trade. Oh, Carl, man, I'd love to pick some brain on somebody who does this professionally. I've been an editor for a very long time, but I have never worked in an official capacity for like a big studio or anything in VFX stuff. I read a lot of what people post and all the information they have to share. But
Yeah, Mike and I both read all the comments, because we
Yeah.
there's like 5% of the comments that we just discard because they're just really mean-spirited or dumb. Like
Yeah.
people, like I point out how the clans are like small-minded eugenics freaks who believe in a quote-unquote meritocracy that is ruled by tyrants and absolutism. And
Yeah.
I point out that they are the antithesis of what Star League stood for, and the last brave people who reminded them that they're a bunch of liars and full of shit. They tried to kill, the Wolverines.
Yeah.
McEvity, where she goes up and she goes, you guys are horrible. You stand again, and I just point out how wrong they are. And I do this huge, long speech about it. And I'll get like a paragraph who's like, well, yeah, but the clan's a meritocracy. And I'm like, did you not listen to my thing
Yeah.
where I said the words? Because Jesus fuck. And that stuff drives me up the wall. And then there's also the well actually guys where they're
Yes.
like, well, you showed the Atlas 7K, which in that timeline, I'm like, look, we're working with the art we got,
Yeah,
And-
yeah. Somebody points out the art things. Text tries to correct me, but sometimes he goes, "That's close enough." Because you have to understand, I look at the mechs as somebody who's outside of it, and I'm like, oh, that looks kind of like it. But I also try to pay as much attention to the mechs as I can, especially since all the art that I'm using is pretty much whatever the person who made the source book could dream up, even if it didn't really match what was happening, which happens a lot. I have a lot of weird art that makes no sense for the book that it's in.
Well, right, and people are doing the best they can because they're given like a week to turn some of this shit around, and they're like, okay, can you draw 7 robots? And like, well, hold on, and they're okay, it's due, and they're like, fuck, arm lasers.
Yeah, just add arm lasers.
Oh, I mean, why not? But yeah, it's a lot more difficult. But we do read all the stuff because we care a lot about what we do, and we want to do a good job. We really want to do a good job, and a lot of the comments are really helpful. I actually had the guy who designed the Mackie, the original guy who designed and sculpted the Mackie, for for way back in the day, and he wrote in and he was like, hey man, you did a great job in the episode, here's Kilroy's little buddy, and he sent the image of the original Kilroy's little buddy that he made, and I was like, fuck, that's really cool. Or really badass guys like Blaine Pardoe, who wrote the clans. He's my cited source for the clan book. Blaine wrote it and people argue with him, and he's the guy who invented it. And they're like, you're wrong. And Blaine will be like, fuck you, I'm right.
Yeah.
I just like Blaine because he doesn't give a fuck. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff and feedback from these, and I always do like reading them. But I know some people just want to see, as Mike pointed out, all they want is, here's the mechs, here are the stats, and there's always that one guy who will say, the mech stuff starts at this time, you know, because he's got the attention span of like, I don't know. It's kind of scary. That's why I also don't talk history, because I would have to do all of the research. I would have to make sure that everything was correct.
Yeah. No, and I that's something I can appreciate. I had been working the documentary circle. I've done a lot of corporate things, nonprofit things, a lot of nonprofit things. I've done a lot of art house and, experimental, a lot of theater. I've done like a ton of stuff on set and as an editor. And I'm not talking like, I touch some equipment. I've literally, everything in here is the stuff I would probably end up using. It's mostly trimmed down at this point because I didn't want to move out here with all that shit. VFX is something that I have always wanted to really kind of master and at least get a really good hook on. And I've done a pretty decent job at grasping things. But I'm always open to learn more. One of the things, and this is something I want to work on for the next episode. I don't know if it'll happen, but one of the things I want to do is to generate, more of an animated style of smoke instead of the smoke that I have been using still images. And there's a bajillion ways to do it, and I'm just going to play around and see what I come up with. But I'm looking forward to it because it's something I've never learned before, and I think that's pretty interesting.
Look what I made.
I see that. You made a repeater rifle. What is the... So there's a...
So you're going from 3 to 12 damage to 5 to 12. It's the same range.
Same range.
But this one is faster.
It's faster. What's the plus... So on the revolver, what's that plus 5 TH? What is that?
I'm going to have to think a minute because I forget.
Yeah, what is T... I've never really seen that before. So now you can DAC us some guys.
Yeah, and I'm also gonna save up until I can get the charged rifle, and then I will build the machine gun, because I just got the blueprints for the machine gun, the mechanized gun.
Yes.
And that is where the game gets really stupid, because the machine gun, I'm just blazing away, and then eventually I will make the rifled cannon.
Your Majesty.
The greatest driver of a professional is not being right, but being right and rubbing it in the face of another professional. I see you have have at least worked on some professional project at some point, Psydog. The stats only crowd don't get the true nature of how and why these mechs got to that point, different specs and uses in different parts of the universe. Yeah, now that's the point, Tiger. I mean, the dude, the people that I've seen that say that kind of thing, I'm like, I feel like you just kind of skim through it. And I've said this before, and I will never understand it, and I will respect your decision if you decide to do this, but I will never understand why people watch videos at 2x speed.
Yeah, there's a guy who will just go too long. I had to watch it at 2x speed, and I realized that, how did you ever get through college?
And there's some videos and people out there who watch stuff and get it. I'm not hating on you for that, but I just don't understand it. I don't get it. 2x is a bit fast, and it kind of misses the point, but I guess some people just have to have the information
I watch
faster.
the Avengers at 4x speed, so I get all the action, and I still have time left over to watch my favorite VTuber.
Well, part of it is because I put a lot of time into pacing, and when somebody skips past all that, I kind of go, well, there's the information you got. I could have just gave you the script if you really wanted it that bad, but I'm sure you would have had a text-to-speech for it at 8x.
Well, that's the thing, is there's a lot of people who are like, why don't you just turn these out once a week using text-to-speech and read off the wiki? And now, like, there was a guy who said that, and I was like, are you joyless? Because, it's one of those things, like, I could make a steak that was fucking delicious, or I could, like, microwave some White Castle.
Yeah, TH means 2-hit bonus. So plus 5 2-hit bonus on the revolver.
Yeah, that's not helping me.
But you have, it's 2-hit bonus over speed, which, I'm sorry, but damage per second and also just more bullets down range is far more effective than you
right
get an
now,
extra...
right now, I need more bang bang.
Yes, because you have a lot more to shoot. A lot. Bold of you to assume those people got through college. Sir Hiram Maxim sends his regards. Yes, exactly.
Hiram Maxim is in game as Hieronymus Maxim. They put him in game.
I honestly think that's like 60% of the reason why you really like this game.
Yeah, it is. I wrote a paper on Hiram Maxim in undergraduate. He was a real character. Do you know he used to like to get into fist fights? He
loved a good show, that's for sure.
No, he loved fighting people.
Yeah.
Like he was from a small town in New England, and he loved to fight motherfuckers. Like, and they said that at one point at a party, they tried to eject him because he was drunk, and he beat 3 policemen unconscious with his bare hands. He was a wild bastard. Look up Hiram Maxim. As a child, he was a laborer, and he had to pick up pork barrels, okay? He had to pick up pork barrels filled with salted pork, like giant fucking pork barrels, and put them on the back of a sledge. And they said that he can throw them into the trunk. So he was like ridiculously strong. And so he basically would just fight people all the time. And it was fucking great. I love this crazy character, and I don't care if half of it's not true. Oh, right, I can't ride the train. Shit.
Yeah, you have a dog.
I have a dog, and they frown on that.
Yeah.
I want to go to Ashbury and see if I can.
This is my emotional support animal. Also, it will murder you. Let me on the train.
Let me on the train.
What if your emotional support animal is like a fucking police-trained German Shepherd? He's like, he makes me feel safe in public because I know that no one's going to fuck around.
We went to Lowe's, and there was a support dog, and this dog looked like a potato with popsicle stick legs, and it just had its tongue hanging out, and the expression on that dog's face was, it hurts to breathe. And I was like, what is this dog supporting?
Well, obviously the emotion of everyone else paying attention to it, because, like, oh no, you've raided the Malachian hand again. Shoot them. Everybody was.
They're level. Oh no, they are level 20 now.
Oh, it's a dark individual. I'm a zombie.
Zombies in this game are stupid. They're funny though. If I get bored of doing a Trash Panda run, I will do an Evil Mage run. I promise you that.
No, you gotta stay true to it, man.
I know. I'm just saying, the Evil Mage. If you guys ever want to have fun playing evil doing good, even.
Gil Bates' competitor is Sir Appleby.
Yeah, it is Appleby.
No.
So it's Bill Gates and Apple. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Appleby wants to blow up Bates' steam engines, which is hilarious.
My emotional support animal is a box of scorpions. Ow, Carl, that's a really nice box of scorpions you got there, buddy. And this is my emotional support guard gorilla. And the girl's like, yo, what's up, man? I'm your emotional support gorilla. Yeah, I could talk. Not a big deal. Listen, if anybody fucks around, well, they're going to find out.
Dude, an emotional
support. It's like that gorilla
from
that shooter game by Blizzard. The
Overwatch?
Overwatch, yes.
Yeah. I think it's funny because I know there's a game every generation that when someone says they play it is the telltale sign of me knowing that I have nothing in common with them. and that was Overwatch. People they're like, oh, I love Overwatch. And I'm like, oh, cool, you don't like games.
Oh, look, a were-rat. Oh, this unfortunate soul here. He's like, yes, at the full moon I become the were-rat, and then I hop around the wilderness like a kangaroo. And you're like, oh, I'm sorry. He's like, yes, it's quite the affliction.
I cannot find toilet paper.
Do you know how hard it is to find toilet paper as a were-rat? No one will sell you anything. You're just living out here in the woods like a were-rat, vibing, you know.
I really wonder how many more cities they would have put in this game if they had time.
Oh, I honestly, I think this whole map would have way more to it. They just
ran out of time and money.
It was a very ambitious game that I feel like when it first released, it was quite broken.
Yeah, it was.
It was quite hard to run on Windows XP.
And they had to launch into like the next game right away.
Yeah.
Because they were just basically out of money. But I mean, this still, Arcanum still holds up. The fans have kept it alive. And not only that, it's still a better RPG than most you will find. And I don't say that lightly, because I just finished the Outer Worlds, and Jesus Christ, Tim Kaine, Leon Boyarsky, what happened?
Yeah, exactly. What do you mean I can't take my emotional support cave bear on the bus?
Well, it's my friend.
Tex doesn't play anime games. Giga Strike, Genshin Impact would be one of them.
I don't know anything about anime.
I am probably going to play one game next month that I play every year. It'll probably be one of the only few JRPGs that I will have Tex hang out with me on, but JRPGs aren't his thing.
I don't understand anime, and I've had friends.
I don't want to hurt him, guys.
I have friends who are really
his soul.
I have friends who are really into anime, and I have friends who are really into JRPGs, and they'll say, you got to play this game, and I'll say, why?
Yeah.
And they'll explain the story, and I go, that is a terrible story. Who wrote that? And then they get offended, and I'm not trying to be an ass. I don't get what people see appealing about it.
Yeah, well, Final Fantasy VII has a terrible story, but it's a cool game. I think that's the part a lot of people don't get. Like, I guess maybe as a kid, I really didn't think much about it, but Final Fantasy VII never really hit me as a game that I enjoyed as a kid. I was really kind of like, wait, why are we leaving the city? What are we doing in the country? What's happening here? Why are these people talking? What's going on? I kept asking what's going on. And it wasn't like I wasn't paying attention, but I don't really like games that I have to take notes for the storyline unless I'm doing like a mystery. And this game was just didn't make any sense. Is that a pink pig?
It is.
Okay. Okay, pigs are normally pink, but that was like Pepto-Bismol pink.
So out in this farm, first of all, I want to say it's this farm here where you learn mastery of throw, or sorry, expert throw. And then one of the, I think it's this farm here. No, is it? It's one of these where you meet Willie Thorndrop, who is the master of handgun or pistols, but he won't teach you unless you do this quest. And you get bad boy points for even doing it. And he's like an old hermit. But here's the thing. On him, he has the looking glass rifle.
Yes.
Which I need. I need that gun. So I'm going to have to try to pickpocket him 100 times in order to get this, because he will just turn and blow your brains out. But that guy there is the expert of throwing, which I don't think I have the prerequisites for.
Not yet.
I'll go check.
Mattis Guardian says, used to be that even saying the word anime would get you drummed out of the Legion.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not trying to be an ass. It just comes naturally.
Wow.
Yeah, I gave him the old man voice. Actually, he does not have an old man voice.
No.
He has the most hilarious Midwest accent. I love it. It's just the way he delivers everything. I'm just like, every time your character talks, Matt as Guardian, in our game that we're playing,
we all die laughing.
It's so good. It's so good.
Grignac, son of Grignac.
Grignac, son of Grignac. Grignac, not afraid of playing. Grignac flew real bird.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit. That's so good.
Getting NPCs to go, what?
So good.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't try to put on an accent or anything. He just says it as it is. It's so good. Oh man, all of us tryhards over here, and he fucking blows us out of the water.
He does, and he's so good at it. He really is. He's really fun to role play with. Yeah.
Bowser. Final Fantasy was the first JRPG series I started with. Well, actually, Dragon Warrior was, but I didn't really play that until I was much older. I played it as a kid. I never beat it until I was older. But yeah, I've started with Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy IX is probably my favorite one. Thunderclap Sasquatch. Don't worry, buddy. You're not alone in that corner. There's a lot of people who like that one, for good reason. It's a good one. Lord of the Rings JRPG style game. Blaine says exists. I'm sure it does. Just don't mention it to Meme, otherwise he'll force Tex to play it, and Tex will be sad.
I will.
Because then he has to play it. Get Final Fantasy Tactics, a tale about what is the French Revolution, but the story stops in the third act to ramble about demons and prophecies that nobody cares about. Yeah, that's pretty much Final Fantasy in a nutshell. it loses what it's trying to do halfway or 3 ways through the game, and then you have to fight some kind of mecha giant Rorschach test for no reason. It's weird. Midwest accent is a broad thing. I'm from Wisconsin, and I still have a non-regional diction. Dude, well, I'm sure if I heard you, I'd know exactly. I'd be like, yeah, that's Midwest. We just stand out, man. I just hear it enough.
That's true.
I am officially old now.
All right, there's Willie Thorndrop.
Griglak not touched metal bird.
Well, I understand, because Griglak is from some far-off places.
David points out, but Tex, real life has a terrible story.
It does.
It's also not well written either, because at some point early on we just didn't do that. Yeah.
Oh shit! All right, we can't kill Willie Thorndrop.
You don't play JRPGs for the story, same as FPS games.
I actually do play. I enjoyed Halo's story. I know that's gonna say like Tex, this is stupid.
Am I gonna play Fist and North Star? No. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I can torture Tex with that. I don't even know it that well myself. But yeah. I beat Dragon Quest when I was 8 and had chicken pox. David, you must be one swole motherfucker. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's some like fucking Chad shit right there.
It is.
Beating the first Dragon Warrior like on NES at 8 years old. My God.
That is.
How much Ritalin like did you have to take? Like holy shit.
Adderall.
Holy fuck. Dude, that's props to you, man. We have a leader who paints himself orange every morning. It doesn't get more Final Fantasy than that. Wow, Meta's Guardian coming in here with the political fucking zingers. Wisconsin is immediately recognizable. Yeah, it is. What exactly is the Midwest accent? It's kind of hard.
Yes.
Kind of hard to. You got it.
Yeah, 10 to 30 damage, range 25.
And also, your 2 hit is plus 20. This is a very deadly weapon.
This is an incredibly deadly weapon for early games. So now that I've stolen it from him and he doesn't know it, I'm going to save, and I think that is where we can end it tonight. Because I'm going to go back in those mines and I'm going to shoot the fuck out of them with this gun.
Yes. I think that this is probably a good point for us to stop because I'm getting into JRPG stuff, and
people get uppity about everything. Pro-scub, anti-scub.
No. In many JRPGs, the final boss... Oh, his name is Robert. Well, welcome to the stream. Thank you for the courtesy. No. In many JRPGs, the final boss is always a god, and it's usually snarky teenagers killing the god. Of course it is. They need teenagers with attitude, man. 360 no scopes? No, this one has a scope on it.
Yes, it is a looking glass rifle.
Although he will not be 360 no scoping.
No, I will be outranging everything and shooting it in the mouth.
Yeah. Stryker says, "Fuck you, scub lover." The horseshoe effect is due to Japanese control of American society. The orange. What?
What?
I don't know what you're. Yeah.
I am confused.
I don't understand. That sounds weird. All right. We are the WRPGs. That's right. That's right. In a Western RPG, there is no main protagonist. Everyone is the antagonist.
Correct.
Maybe you have Tex play SMT Nocturne. He'll love it or hate it.
Maybe.
I don't know. Every time Ryder recommends something, all my friends seem to disappear. So, I don't know. Well, last time Ryder recommended something, Crash never came back. No, it was because he recommended Sonic Dreams Collection.
Sonic.
Yeah, the Sonic Dreams Collection is...
Let's just all agree Sonic is really weird.
The Dreams Collection somehow outdoes itself.
It's about a hedgehog that does meth and like eats chili cheese dogs and runs real fast.
It's a collection of every cursed Sonic game ever made.
It sounds like the drivel to come out of an 8-year-old. It's like, come up with a hero for a video game, Timmy. And he's like, there's a hedgehog and he one wheel fast and he loves chewy cheese dog.
Wow.
And you're like, what?
Wow, thank you, Might Be a Werewolf. Thank you very much. Yeah, the starter cartoon was weird. Got a new emote. It's some kind of thing. It's somebody holding up. Is that underwear? Yeah, it's probably underwear. It's the underwear. Cool. Thanks for the underwear, man.
We appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, is it like K-pop thing? Oh, that's right. I saw that on Twitch. There's like a K-pop appreciation thing going on Twitch right now.
Uh-huh.
So hooray. K-pop is a thing. It's a genre of music that exists, and people like it, supposedly. Yeah, Spec Ops was fine. The "you're the bad guy all along" thing was very in your face, but some of the stuff they did story-wise was subtle. I thought Metal Gear Solid 2 did it better myself. That's what Debbie says. And yeah, I can agree with that. Because when I first played, because the thing is with Spec Ops The Line, all my friends were like, "Oh man, you got to try this game. It's gonna be it's revolutionary in the way they're doing it." And I'm like, this just feels like someone telling me I'm a bad guy all the time and I should feel bad. I'm like, I really don't. I'm playing a video game. I can't. I can feel things for characters in video games. I truly can. But when you're telling me to do so, it doesn't really work for me. It's part of the reason why Final Fantasy loses me sometimes, because they try to make me feel something too much, and I'm kind of like, you don't have to make me feel anything. I could just do that. I'm a normal human being, you know? I feel things all the time. It's just, there's always this pressure to put people in these really kind of Disney cartoon-esque, oh no, Bambi's dad was shot moments, and I'm like, you don't have to.
If forced narrative sucks.
Yeah. Sonic Dreams is fucked up. Well, hey, listen, you don't know for sure. You haven't played it yet. None of you have. I don't believe any of you played it. Not actually played it. I don't think any of you ever downloaded it except for Ryder. Ryder's probably the only one. Actually downloaded and played it because you're all afraid. You're all scared. And so am I. That's why I'm not doing it. Sonic everything was weird. He's what the boardroom thought the 90s kids wanted, and somehow they were right. That's what all right, he's an animal, runs really fast. Hedgehogs are fast, right? Yeah, like Mach speed, man. All right, yeah, we give him his little red shoes, and he runs real fast. And people try to catch him, like, come here, you little hedgehog. And it's like a Russian guy, because Russians are bad, right? And we have him chasing him.
Your Majesty.
Since we're on the topic of weird games, should we try Action 52? Oh, yeah, the thing with 52 games, where only 51 of them are broken, and one of them is also kind of broken, but works a little bit. No, I think Cheetah Men could have been a solid NES game if they would have just made Cheetah Men. But no, they had to make 51 other games into one pack and barely work. Yeah, I don't understand Action 52.
Well,
but I can understand what they were doing with Cheetah Men. I think they could have finished that game. They were actually trying to make a comic and shit out of it, which is weird. The people want Boulder. Don't worry, you're going to get Boulder. Say what you want, Will, about Sonic, but I hear he's kind of a prick. I don't know him personally, but I'll take your word for it.
Well, shot him. I win.
Sonic, the Urge of the Furry Plague. No, I'm sorry, that is incorrect. That is also called the 70s and 80s. You can thank that era for that.
Oh, drugs.
How many drugs? If you guys like Pathologic, try The Void. It's just as weird. Hedgehog, Mike. Hedgehog? What do you mean? What? Hedgehog, comma, Mike. I don't know what you're trying to infer. I blame Egypt. Oh yeah, there you go. That's the best one.
That's true.
Yeah.
I could see that. I understand. I grok this.
What about Fear? I love Fear, the first one. It's a great John Woo-esque horror shooter game. The second and third one, not so much. But I think the first one, for me, was enough. I think that was a fine game. I played the crap out of it. It's actually the first game I ever pre-ordered, ever. And that was back around the time when you actually needed to pre-order games.
Yeah, back when that was a good idea.
Yeah.
And now that's just absurd.
And Fear was also published, I believe, by Sierra Games, which is interesting. Or was it Monolith? I think it was published.
That's Monolith.
I think, Sierra had their name on it.
Well, yeah, Monolith was the studio.
Yeah. So Monolith made it, Sierra published it.
Yeah. Well, at any rate, I think that'll do for this evening. I've got I've gotten about halfway through the mines, and I got a really good rifle.
Yeah.
I don't want to push our luck anymore because Jesus Christ, that was lucky. And then after this, we'll just go back down to the mine and kill everything with a gun that can now murder shit.
Yes. Sounds good to me. Well, let me go ahead and pop on over to this. This is me on the picture. Behind me is a weird, it's like a cog, sprock, something.
Looks like an astrolabe.
It looks like something out of
astrolabe.
Siberia. What was that? Yeah, Siberia, that puzzle point-and-click game. That was a fine fucking game. I like Siberia.
That was let me tell you about a fine fucking game, that Siberia.
Siberia? No, seriously. Siberia is a great fucking game. Very comfy.
I remember that game.
Nothing like trekking through the old Russian wilderness, chasing after a train on a train, and then finding prehistoric creatures. It's an interesting game. I like it, okay? Don't judge me. All right, I like point-and-click games. That's why we're going to play on Wednesday Laura Bow and the Dagger of Amun-Ra. We're going to...
You're going to hear me do a lot more voices.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why? Because it's voiced. The game's voiced.
Yeah, but I make fun of the voice actors.
Yes, it's true.
Because that guy's like, hey, let me tell you about New York City. Did you know you can run over 8 bums and still keep a license? Anyways, here you go. It's a speakeasy. Or is it a florist? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to go drink some bathtub gin till I go blind. Haha, just kidding. I'm dead inside. And then he just drives over women.
Oh, yes. Especially that. Yeah, the whole thing looks like Myst. It does, doesn't it? Kind of. It kind of looks like Myst. I wouldn't click on anything. If you ever end up in the Myst universe, don't touch anything. Just fucking scream or jump off a cliff. Like, it's not worth it. If you're like, I'll survive, I'll get through the thing. No, then you open up a book and some weird guy's talking to you, and you're like, what is this, a 90s FMV? And you're like, dude, leave me alone. Why am I talking to a book?
Yeah.
It's Myst in a nutshell. Don't touch anything.
Myst is a series of puzzles held together by the bare semblance or promise of a story that can be deciphered if you're patient enough, and I hate that.
Cyan is got its own following people.
Yeah, all 7 of them.
All 7 of them, which are all, by the way, probably on retiree age, and they all continue to make games, and people like them. There's still, by the way, I'm not trying to advertise it, but it still exists. The Myst MMO does exist. If you really want to go play Myst, there's an MMO.
All the fun of Myst.
All the fun of Myst. Falling asleep with your best friends. Myst MMO. Anyway, but yeah, we'll be back again on Wednesday to play some more Laura Bow and the Dagger of Amun-Ra. We're just going to beat it, do a full run through of the game. And yeah.
Oh, I'm going to get that fucking turbo guide open, and I'm just going to walk you through it. We're going to speedrun any % this thing.
Hopefully the person who wrote the turbo guide knows what they're doing. Cause
fucking Myst.
Some people write guides. And
no, there was that one guide where it said you just walked around huffing everything like blue velvet.
Yeah, he was like, smell the air. And you're like...
Yeah, no, dude, you were like Dennis Hopper in Blue Velvet. You were like, I'll fuck anything that moves. Yeah. Oh, yeah, smell that perfume. I mean, it was insane. Like, that guide talked about smelling all this stuff, and it was absolutely not... Talking to people wasn't necessary.
Yes. Oh, man. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. And yeah, we'll be back again on Wednesday with more horrible point-and-click stuff that I can force text to play. Or maybe not. Take care and have a good one.